Well, if you're the government and you can throw away, pass out trillions of dollars, why can't you do a little something for the people you sent over there, wherever you sent them, and you ran them crazy? You ran them people crazy. And they got there and they said, man, I didn't sign up for this. It was too late. You got them there, either got them killed, packaged up, bundled up, brutalized, and sent them back here, and they're homeless. I mean, by the millions. There's something like, I don't know if the number is right, 200 some thousand homeless military personnel. That's just insane. Okay? And ain't nobody coming down and trying to help. You see those little cracker boxes? This is people with good intention. They're building these little cracker boxes, houses for homeless people. I don't know if they're 6 feet, something. That's just a waste of time. For as many homeless people as it is, it's a good idea. I mean, it's good that they want to do that. Anybody want to do anything like that is good. But you got to imagine if you go down to the Home Depot, they got those little things sitting outside the same size for a little portable garage or something, right? Those things is a couple $1,000, right?
And then where they're putting them, it may be in front of somebody's house. We don't want them in front of their house. Because I've seen that. So that means you call the police on them, then they'll move that to somewhere, so that means you got to get a lot or something to put those things in.
To put them in, but also you got to have a place for the people to go to the bathroom. They go to the bathroom. That's why we thought about closed military bases, which they have by the tons. Why they're not using shows the insanity. Nobody wants to go downtown San Francisco. It's a beautiful city. City by the bay. You ought to see those beautiful buildings in San Francisco. Bridge going over here, bridge going over there. Golden Gate, Sausalito around the corner. And don't nobody want to go there. People are leaving California now, and people in Oregon and Washington said, don't come up here. We don't want you Californians, you know what I mean? Hey, we don't want y'all up here. I mean, right now there's opposition. They see California license plate. You want to bring that stuff up here? It's already weird. And Seattle ain't no better for homeless people. It's not any better than San Francisco.
Seattle, they got the cars. It's cars, like a street like Benton Road, you have cars up and down the street. You can tell people living in the cars. It's like they got like the stuff over the back window so they can change and sleep back there. Clothes they be strewn on the windshield to dry clothes and stuff. You have the grill right out front of the car. And the whole block, that's the whole block, is like an apartment complex.
That's why we have the idea about unused military bases. They have all the facilities. Number one, we can collect all their clothing, what have you. We can leave their carts, have a special place. You have to leave the damn thing somewhere else. You know what I mean? And okay, the whole running of a regular place, you know what I mean? Spraying people down, cleaning them up, scrubbing up, even having people coming and donating time as dentists, as health specialists. You know what I mean? Okay, this one got 4 hours a week, and we got a schedule on the wall. They're gonna come in, or so many of them, they're gonna come in and see all the facilities are there. And I know the government will let you rent that stuff for $1 $1 a year or something like that. Whatever it costs. First we start ours if we have to, but what we would like to do is jump right to a military base. Okay, that means you have to have people that have experience with all of that stuff. And you have to humanize them. We was thinking about, colonels in retirement, majors, whatever they are, they have experience in that. And a colonel is high enough that a colonel usually manages a base, can manage a base. But just think about the military personnel and all of their boys, well now girls too. And the government ain't doing nothing for them. They have a reason. We even have an idea of visiting VFW places, Yeah, we're going to make little presentations. We're going to ask the chief there if we could make a presentation for veterans of foreign wars. Yeah. If you guys want to volunteer for da-da-da-da-da, you know how. We're not going to say anything anti-American, because 10% of them still got an American flag tattooed on their heart. So it's all for their boys. Just to slip through the cracks. We ain't blaming nobody how they got there. Like at least they joined. We ain't saying this is what they done. We want to get the job done. So a lot of our Negro rhetoric that is true, right? We may not have to mention it. Why? Because our job is to do that job right now. We got another job on the other side, trying to keep boss man from doing wrong, which is technically not impossible, but you can't make the shaitan do right. Right? I mean, you can just don't work. Okay, anyway. Homeless shelter organization managed. How to organize and outline homeless shelter. We got down here homeless shelters for dummies. Now we have Go for Big. Go for Big means that, we're talking about starting off with a whole compound, a closed military base. So we're already thinking on the level that we have to, because number one, you have to staff that place. When you start taking in people, you got to already have food there waiting for them. So when you ready to go on that level, you have to staff and organize the place before the people get there. You know what I mean? You can't have them all running there and say, well, we figure out what, you just did what they used to do. You can't do that. You have to be organized, but it has to be human. The military type personnel who would be happy to do that type of thing based on what they know have happened internally have to learn how to treat people like Quranic beings, like human beings. They have to start off treating the people like we want the people, or it's wanted for the people to feel like where we're trying to take them. All that self-esteem and all that. Imagine your self-esteem when you just laying down on the ground. Just laying down on the ground, and it ain't nothing. You ain't getting, and people are walking by you, and like you don't even exist. That's why some of the people, they have a little shame thing. I am a person or something like that. Some of the homeless people, and the people see it. It does. It make them feel like, yeah. I tell you, I was at UC Berkeley, or I was out at Berkeley, and I was hanging around with one of my old friends. So, my old friend worked in a marijuana, where they grew marijuana legally and all that. And I asked him, how is the smoke compared to when, but we started out, the fact he might be the one that started really dealing, you know. So I asked him, I said, I could see the joints they had rolled were packed and rolled pretty professional, and I would see a little oil coming through the pin. I said, how is that compared to what we used to smoke? It's about 5 times more potent. This stuff right here is 5 times more potent than what, you know, because they didn't upgrade that stuff there. It ain't just a regular, what is it, THC, whatever it is, it's packed in there now. So I asked him, and we was up there at UC Berkeley, and they had some programs where people were out in the street and they had stalls and all of that. They had that stuff around Berkeley all the time. So, in fact, when we was up there, I was asking him so much about smoke that he brought a big bag. He thought I was hinting that I wanted to try something. And then I said, okay, I see what it is, okay. And he almost paused, because when we was around Lake Merritt, he had brought a big, a duffel bag, not a duffel, a little carry-on bag. He brought a lot of it. And he said, yeah, and he was holding it up and all that. And I was asking him all the questions because, sometimes they give people now a thing to smoke weed to help. Like for instance, if you have Crohn's disease and you don't feel like eating, they give you smoke. And definitely marijuana used to make niggas laugh, and their stomach would be hurt so bad from laughing, and then they get hungry. They eat up all the cookies, right? Do people still do that? The niggas eat up everything? Yeah,
they get they call it the munchies now.
It's the munchies. It's been eating syrup, and if it's 5 times, because I said, man, that stuff must be serious. But anyway, the point is that he thought I might wanted some. But anyway, there's another guy up there, in fact, 2 guys. When we was first sitting away from campus, I think I gave one of the homeless guys a $20 bill, something like that. Then, in fact, I tell you when it was, Hashim was having a program up there on campus, and it was a Malcolm X program, so it had to be in late February. And I went up to it, and so when I went into that program, I just gave him, brother, African American, I just gave him $20 and went on in, okay. When he came out, the way he approached me was, my name is so-and-so, and he told me his name, as if to say, I have an identity. That's the way I was perceiving what he was saying. Thank you very much, but I'm a human being. I have a name, because he told me specifically, not that I remembered it, but he told me, this is who I am, that I am a person. And so what that tells me is that all of those people have, I'm not a digit or something to stick your finger in. You know what I mean? I am a human being. And that's, whatever we do, we want to make sure that shines through clearly. You know what I mean? We're not saviors here to save the poor, downtrodden, and misfits of the world. No. help you or aid you and assist you in doing what you want to do. Now, after a few months of being around, we might have some motivational programs and different things, you know what I mean, for them. You know, for them to realize that, okay, you stabilize now. That's the first thing you want to do with somebody that's blown away or cut all of. You want to stabilize them, right? So with homeless people, the first thing we want to do is stabilize, I don't want to call them the patient, but stabilize the person. Where they're now comfortable, they got what's coming in, you know, what they need, and they feel for the first time like they're not a burden on anybody, they're stabilized. Then after that stabilization, we start in to help them evolve. In other words, basically at the back of the plan, America has turned their back on those people. We want to be the ones that shine the light on them. Or nationwide or worldwide program. It ain't no limit, you know, because after this, I think that this is one of those things whose time has come, something like that, right? There's nothing like an idea whose time has come. And that's the time we're living in. And I don't know why, even I've been looking on the internet, a lot of different little stuff, homelessness, nobody's attacking the problem like it, you know, like it's not they have war on crime, they had war on drugs. What's the name? Even had a war on poverty. Right. Johnson, and the white man down in Virginia, somewhere down in lower than Virginia, where the coal miners and all of them are, somewhere. West Virginia. He said, I want you to tell me where I can go. You declared the war on poverty, where can I go surrender? I said, so that's a white man. Anyway, let me keep on. So we're thinking of in big terms, and not just little small terms. Although a little deed done good regularly for such and such, you know, is as good as a good giant deed done once, you know, every now and then. But we're thinking about on the size and the scale. See, we've always been movement oriented, so everything we think about, we're going to think about it on a movement scale, rescue everybody, you know, that type of thing. And that's the way we're looking at this now. We're not looking at it as we're looking at having whole teams of people with trucks and everything to collect food from all the food that goes to Safeway and their warehouse. In fact, the warehouse is in Oakland, Safeway warehouse. If you look on Safeway stuff, you'll see it's a lot of Oakland on there. What I mean is this. All the stuff here and everywhere, like it goes back to the store, milk, cheese, everything, when it goes back. So everything that they have in the store goes back. Suppose we have people collecting all of that, and they collecting all of it, not only collecting it, but the warehouse that they have, sometimes they give it away, sometimes they throw it away. Since we was a non-profit organization, I remember one project we had in Oakland. It was from this bakery, and they used to, all the bread and bakery, everything that was past due, they gave it to us. And we had tables outside. I'm telling you, the Negro would come up and he'd look. He used to buying that 5 loaves for $1 bread. You squeeze it, it's like, look, I'm telling you, telling you long sure as I'm sitting here. Because I was standing out at the table, and this is one of them, you know, premier bakeries. White folks in Mercedes-Benz. Is that free? Yes, ma'am. I remember one of the first lady I seen do it was in a yellow Mercedes-Benz. Is that free? Yes, ma'am. Is there a limit? Well, it's getting a little late, so no, it's no real limit. Now, they had the delicious rolls and pie. It was expensive, the most expensive bakery in the Bay Area. And they could get us stuff to us because we're a non-profit organization, then they write it off on their taxes. You know what I mean? Because that was the only requirement, that I have to give them a tax number. And they wrote it off on their taxes, you know. And so everything that they gave us, they probably didn't pay no taxes. Because they gave us enough to consume whatever, you know what I mean? All of their leftovers, man alive. And the best bakery goods in Oakland. The Negro didn't want them. We would stay out there all day as the bread piled up. It had 12 grain bread, 15 grain bread, and you know why you knew it was deep? Because a loaf of that white man's bread, you could hold it up with a finger. This bread, you could tell some of the bread in the store is heavy. I mean, when it said 19 grains and 15, you could see that that is healthy bread. And we couldn't eat but a little bit of our, man, I'd put some of that bread in a skillet with some butter and heat it up. And I would be full, and you know, you knew that you had healthy, you know, stuff. The Negro wouldn't eat it. I'm telling the truth.
I know you are.
He wouldn't eat it. I said, they eat some of the sweet stuff, but the Negro was good. The pie, we got pies up there, everything, you know. But they would go right to the liquor store and buy a 50-cent loaf of bread that you could squeeze with your hand, and that all you squeeze all the air out of it. And they like that. You see the bread in the store right now, and it's $1 loaf.